Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Garrett Smith, known as the nutrition detective around these here YouTube parts. And for those of you who are here on time in the live chat, I'm sorry I was quite late, much later than usual, because I was getting all this stuff ready for you guys to go into my little show about some of the things that Dr. Ardis out here on the internet promotes, and Kelsey having been already on top of the Ardis topic, had tons of stuff to share with me from her ivermectin-based, her anti-ivermectin-based Telegram group. So she sent me tons of stuff, and I had to go through it. And I found, of course, the stuff that I find. Just one thing to hit on at the start, if you're wondering. So those of you who follow my hair regrowth journey, I was supposed to get a haircut yesterday, and I thought I might be able to do it this morning. I didn't have time for any of it. So this is 2 weeks of all the growth on my head. Milo, my boy, was very shocked. He rubbed my head the other day. He thought it was great, and I'm kind of excited about it. So anyway, it's going well. I will have a I've been finishing up some things on the upcoming hair program. It's not going to be in the Love Your Liver program. It's going to be separate from that. But for those of you who are interested, it will be sometime soon. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, it's coming along. I'm pretty excited. I did this not because I was worried about it, but because I wanted to. It's one of those things I do where it's just to prove that I can do it. And Kelsey likes it, so it's cool. Anyway, wanted to get into testimonials first. We have some testimonials, and these are kind of long, so but they're educational as always. So I get to show you guys what we're doing and how we're doing it. And Joe put the link up there, so it's a shareable Google Doc. And let's just get into it. So, I got to share my screen, right, Joe? There we go. Let me do that. And we'll share that. And there we go. Okay, so we're here. Now, actually, and before, for those of you who are here seeing that I'm going to, Dr. Ardis is the topic of conversation. Some people might say I'm trying to drag down people in the alternative profession. No. I like good chiropractors. Dr. Ardis is a retired chiropractor, if you didn't know. I have a chiropractor here in town that I really like, that I take myself and my daughter and my kids, my boy and my daughter to. And Steve Gadecki in the Love Your Liver program is a chiropractor. He's great. He's seeing amazing results with his people where he's having them do the diet, and he's doing their adjustments, and he's getting better improvements by doing both at the same time. And that's what helped him with his chronic sacroiliitis. So if you can imagine a chiropractor who has long time bad sacroiliitis fixing himself, finally fixing his problem, too much, with diet. So he now knows, does chiropractic help certain things? Yes. Does diet help certain things? Yes. Would the combination of them be better? Yes. Now, a chiropractor giving terrible nutrition advice and telling people that pharmaceuticals are not medicine, which I will show you the quote. He said pharmaceuticals are not medicine, yet pushing pharmaceuticals left and right. I have issues with these things. So let's head into the testimonials before we get into all of that stuff. I have a lot of stuff. You can imagine if I'm an hour late for my show, I got a lot of stuff. So here we go. This is an update from someone who is 5 months into low vitamin A. Why did it do that? Oh, are you highlighting it, Joe? I don't know. Anyway, okay, here we go. April and May were filled with ups and downs, mostly small ups, but the downs were always discouraging because who doesn't want to feel better rather than worse? Supplement learnings. No citrates for me induces insomnia and intense itching at night. Let me just add at the start here. This person knows that they are very toxic. I'll say that much. She knows that she's very toxic. This testimonial, for you guys who don't know, these testimonials are posted in the Love Your Liver program, which is a private group, a private network. It is pay to enter. It is a do-it-yourself program. These testimonials are there. I generally don't put people's names unless I have very specific written permission to do so. But these are all real testimonials. There's no way I would ever falsify these things. Anyway, but this person pays attention very well. They're very sensitive, which is usually something that comes along with being very toxic. Okay. Topical vitamin K helps her drain her lymph nodes that have been swollen since February. We had our whole vitamin K show a show or two ago. Yeah, 2 shows ago. So you might want to watch that one. I crave oral magnesium and potassium, so I take it 3 times a day with meals. Magnesium chloride plus potassium bicarb foot baths have greatly helped with sleep. Activated charcoal bath is not for me. Dried out my skin way too much. Maybe we'll try again in the future when my eczema is completely healed. Sure. Activated charcoal, as in a half teaspoon in a glass water bottle, got me through some rough downs where I was dumping bile between meals. I still use it overnight, but now I am adding 1/8 of a teaspoon of activated charcoal to my electrolytes at meal times and not consuming activated charcoal between meals. This person is just paying attention. Okay, if you want to do this program, if you want a protocol, Dr. Ardis gives protocols. If you want a protocol, this is not the place. We don't do protocols. We have a framework of things to test and try and see what you tolerate best and what works best for you. So when you are reading this testimonial, this woman is paying extremely close attention to what is helping her and what is not working for her. If you want to just be told what to do, this is not the place for you. First thing you must do if you want to get better is take responsibility for your own health. If you want to be like, some people want to get better by being victims so they can say, well, the doctor told me to take this medicine, it didn't work. Oh, this naturopath told me to take these 10 supplements and they didn't work. Oh, nobody's helping me. Well, if you were on this and I say, try some zinc, and you try the zinc and you go, I don't feel good on that. And I say, try a lower dose, or maybe you're not ready yet. And you don't listen to that. And you just say, well, the zinc didn't work, so I quit. That's not the way this works. Okay. You have to figure out what works. So anyway, back to this. B1 is sulfur-based. If you did not know that, it is. And I am detoxing sulfur. I took a big dose 2 days in a row that totally cleared up the eczema on my arms, and then proceeded to get crippling kidney pain on the 3rd day. It felt like active labor contractions on my kidneys. No more B1 for me. You guys have heard of the duration paradox before, right? I might have mentioned that before. Taking something and having a honeymoon phase of feeling really great, and then having the drop later, the symptoms either coming back or worsening. Thiamine binds to aldehydes. That's what it does. So it can help you at the start, but it's also putting sulfur into the system, which can slow your detox. I am still taking B9 and B12, and they seem to be helping, not hurting. Good. Zinc oxide plus shea butter is still the GOAT, as in greatest of all time, for eczema flares for this person. Jojoba oil seems to make flares worse. Too sensitive to take even 1 drop of molybdenum at this moment. Breaking down 1 selenium capsule into 10 microgram doses has been working, although it does seem to have increased bile production / dumping. I take it before bed because it makes me sleepy. The symptoms are manageable and I'm sleeping better overall, so I will continue. Okay, let me finish this last part. Zinc, niacin, salve, one of our other products, is great. A little goes a long way for me. Experiencing a niacin flush for the first time felt like a fun science experiment. Using it after a protein-rich meal mitigates the flush symptoms. So this person, folks, as I go over in one of the other episodes, the zinc, niacin, salve can cause a flush. If you get a little bit of redness or itchy or tingling skin after it, that's just the niacin. You're not having a negative reaction to it. It goes away, and you will, if you keep using it, it will get less and less and less until it stops. If you're already taking oral niacin, nicotinic acid, as in flush niacin, you probably will not ever flush from the zinc, niacin, salve. The zinc, niacin, salve tends to make people flush who are not taking niacin, haven't ever taken it, and who are very toxic. Okay? So backing up. I know this person went to Hope's, one of our health facilitators. She went to Hope's office hours, and Hope told her to break down 1 selenium capsule into doses that would give her 10 micrograms per dose. This is how sensitive this person is. She's doing it. She's feeling like it helps. And then she's also following if you're doing a supplement that I suggest, like a mineral supplement or zinc or molybdenum or selenium or whatever, here people go, well, should I take it in the morning or should I take it at night? Well, if you feel better, let's say if it gave you energy, when should you take it? Well, how about you take it earlier in the day when you want energy for the day? If you take something and it makes you kind of tired or relaxed, take it at the end of the day. Does this make sense? So she's saying the symptoms are manageable and she's sleeping better overall, so she will continue. Okay. So she's doing the zinc niacin salve. Zinc oxide is what we used to recommend before we had the zinc niacin salve, and she's doing well with it. Okay. And she's saying shea butter helps, whereas jojoba oil makes it worse. Are you seeing how this person is intensely paying attention? Okay. Lifestyle learnings. Hot showers are still the best remedy for an eczema flare, especially at night. I haven't been exposed to urushiol. That's urushiol, I think it is. U-R-U. I think it may be misspelled here. But anyway, urushiol is from poison ivy. But it sounds like I have a similar experience to those who get relief from using extremely hot water to give antihistamine relief. Well, possibly. Could be sweating, could be whatever. Eating lots of protein is a chore, but absolutely necessary to minimize cholestatic bile dump symptoms and minimize symptoms in general. So she doesn't like eating lots of protein, but she just has seen that it takes that to improve her symptoms. The Big Six lymph massage, if you want to look this up, Perry Nicholson, Big Six. You can find it on his own website. Super helpful to move lymph. Big Six lymph massage in the shower or before bed is an easy, effective way to keep things moving. Life has a lot of, especially if you can't exercise. If you're too sick to exercise, you should be doing the Big Six lymph massage every day, probably twice a day, to get things moving. And then if you want to do like a vibration plate to get things moving too, that can be helpful too. Life has a lot of variables and I can't control everything. Rolling with the punches and finding ways to minimize negative reactions to the environment and non-ideal meal times on busy days is just going to be part of the journey. This will get better with time. Minimizing intox is easy when you realize how awful the physical repercussions are. Sometimes you just got to hurt bad enough to want to change. Yes. I still think my stubborn personality needed to hit rock bottom to buckle down and make this detox happen. And I still wouldn't wish these symptoms on anyone. Make the changes before you need to make them. Space weather is a real thing, and I am very sensitive to it right now. I wake up 10 to 20 minutes before an alert comes on my phone and get a big bile dump, day or night when the sun is really flaring. Talk about feeling like hot garbage. Space weather's a legit thing. The Schumann resonance is a real thing. The full moon and new moon can affect people. If you guys don't know about NORAD and what they're doing with the HARP system in this country, you can go and find videos of the maps. They are firing that stuff off all the time. When this stuff is affecting you, there's not much you can do. It's once the stuff leaks into your system, there's not much you can do. As you get better, you will become less sensitive to it. That's just the way it goes. So improvements for her. Even less brain fog than in March. It does come back when I'm pushing detox too hard, but I'm learning to spot it earlier. I can be outside for hours now instead of minutes and still sleep at night. I'm assuming that means sun exposure. I can sleep on a pillow. My skin was way too weepy and hot from bile dumping to use a pillow for months. I have energy to do normal household tasks like wash the floors and carry big loads of laundry. I have the mental bandwidth to think about others and ask how they're doing. Face completely healed up from eczema for a couple weeks. Then got some retracing to dermatitis. I don't know exactly. I think that may be a little typo. To dermatitis around my mouth, eyelids, and bridge of nose, but it's like a different kind of rash than before and less inflamed. I applied topical steroids to these areas in high school. So that stuff can be coming out. Like she suppressed it. She understands that she suppressed it, and now it's coming back out. Those things have to come out. It's stuck in your tissues. The skin on my face started producing its own oil again. First time since January. I never thought I would be so happy to get whiteheads again. Yes. So she was saying, I believe she was saying she had very, very dry skin. And now she's getting some oil, and yeah, she's detoxing fat-soluble toxins through her skin, which is the whiteheads. Neck and chest are 80% healed from the eczema. The skin is still very dry and tight. It is thick in some places and thin in others. I'm confident that it will follow the pattern of healing that my face did too. and be healed up in the next month or so. If you guys aren't on Twitter, Veronica, aka Celestial Being, was talking about her massive eczema flare-up. So she is like queen of the peating disorder, folks. And she's having massive eczema flare-ups. Why would she be having that on a Peat diet? Oh, I don't know. High dairy, high sugar, high, she's got the carrots, she's got the dairy, she's got all just high vitamin A diet. Gosh, I guess the gelatin and the collagen didn't save her from this skin problem, which is weird. Anyway, everybody who does low vitamin A knew exactly why she was breaking out. And what did she do? She put methylene blue tallow on it. Well, if you go and you watch the methylene blue episode that I did here, or you see my Twitter thread on it, you will know that methylene blue shuts down detox. So she's shoving it all back inside. It's coming out. She keeps eating it. Her body has to get rid of it. And she decides to shove it back in. That's what she did. Arms and back of hands are moving through the eczema healing cycle now, too. I believe they have passed their worst flares and are now beginning to heal. The zinc niacin salve is helping with this process. Torso is also beginning to heal from eczema. It seems to be a few weeks behind my arms, but it never flared as badly as my arms did. I never put topical steroids on my torso, so this may be why. Bowel movements are consistent every morning, sometimes going twice a day. She's happy about that, so I'm guessing that means she used to not poop very well. We help people fix their pooping. Your pooping problems are toxicities and deficiencies. And yes, she's taking some magnesium to help, and that's fine. Oral magnesium can help you poop, can give you a bit of magnesium, but it's not as good as topical. So she's doing both. I believe we'll just fix that. The sleep quality is slowly improving. I still have itching at somewhat predictable intervals through the night, but for a while at the end of April and beginning of May, I was sleeping from midnight to 5:15ish without any serious itching. I hope to get back to that soon when the space weather clears up. Space weather causes bile dumping, one of the most classic symptoms in the literature of what's called intrahepatic cholestasis of pregnancy is itching. So she's not pregnant. She's just leaking bile into her system and she's getting itching. Okay? And she's familiar with the bile dump patterns and space weather and all that stuff. Okay, so food. I cut back even more on my food choices as I became aware of what helped and hurt my healing process. I'm slowly adding some things in. That's okay. So remember, we're not trying to make like a super restrictive diet. What we are trying to say is don't even minimize your vitamin A. And some people at the start have to really, really minimize their diet because there's just things that they're reacting to in certain foods that are problematic for them currently. As they get better, as we've talked about here, we see food allergies go away. We've had people claim that their celiac has gone away, which is like the worst food allergy you could have other than anaphylactic allergies. So we're seeing that people so yes, at the start, it's a bit more restrictive for some people. As they get better, they can start expanding it. 99% organic, 90% home cooked, fresh food to limit histamines, 1 to 2 pounds of ground beef. That's a lot of protein for a lady in a day. Yes. Occasionally subbing in chicken because beef was causing some stomach bloating. Store-bought lamb seems to be too sulfurous for me, but I do eat some lamb that my husband butchered from a local farmer. Brown plus white rice noodles, brown rice, and quinoa noodles from Trader Joe's, Stacy's organic flour tortillas, nixtamalized corn chips. Nixtamalized means that the compound in the chips, in the corn, has been broken down so that it doesn't deplete your niacin. Sourdough crackers. Can't do sourdough bread for some reason, only crackers. White rice soaked in charcoal before cooking. You want to see my rice prep episode for more information on that. Banana bread. Leah Miller's recipe, subbing half a teaspoon psyllium husk in 3 tablespoons of water for egg whites, avocado oil for olive oil, and half a cup of sugar instead of 1.5 cups. Nice changes. Iceberg lettuce, peeled cucumbers, 1 to 3 apples a day, less if I'm feeling detox symptoms. Minor Figures oat milk, I'm assuming that's the brand, with organic coffee, no vitamin A or vitamin D added. Occasional squirt of lime on food. Lemons seem to cause more histamine issues. Occasional Trader Joe's organic burger buns with avocado oil for a condiment. Avocado oil on noodles. No more meat stock, rye bread, or sourdough. The person who was making rye bread for me started using molasses, so I can't handle it anymore. Molasses is super high in manganese. Don't. Too many histamine issues at this point. Looking forward to adding all these back in the future. So, look at all these foods that someone who is very sensitive is able to eat. right? She's still very sensitive, but she's able to add in more foods. Like if somebody's going to say that this is like some horrible, torturous diet, like really. And I'm going to say it again about coffee. Okay, coffee is usually the last thing that people take out of their program. It just is. Is she getting better with coffee in her program? Yes. Could she get better faster without it? Possibly. Can people get better while the coffee's still in there? Yes. It is about doing more things correctly than incorrectly. You need to have more toxins leaving and more nutrients coming in than you have toxins coming in or nutrients leaving. It's like a bank account. If you think of it, you're trying to deplete your bank account of toxicity and you're trying to fill it up with nutrients. So just like you would move a bank account, make more money to fill it up, spend less money to drive it, or, make more money or spend less money to fill it. And then if you want to deplete it, if you wanted to deplete an account, right, you spend more money or you put less money into it. Okay. In progress, tried using zeolitas and zeocharge to help with mitigating detox symptoms due to the crazy space weather this last week. Seems to be helping calm down the eczema flares, somewhat reduce itching, and improve sleep quality. I took extra magnesium to make sure I keep having regular bowel movements. Had a spicy bowel movement the second day after using it, and I hadn't eaten spicy food in 5 months. That's a good sign that bile is getting out of my system. Mix some hyaluronic acid into my body lotion. We have that in the mag lotion. For those of you who don't know, seems to help keep areas that are truly just dry skin moist. Seems to make eczema worse. Started adding a pinch of baking soda to my electrolytes. My drinking water is RO, so it might be helping to balance the pH and helping with stomach bloat. I haven't tested this, just going off how I feel. Vitamin K may be causing teeth sensitivity. I talk about this in the vitamin K episode. It happens in sensitive people most commonly. Going to take a break for a week and see. About the RO, there's a reason why I typically recommend the AquaTrue brand. Because AquaTrue, part of their marketing is they say it doesn't change the pH of the water and make it more acidic, which most RO systems do. So you can get a whole house system and it may make the water a little bit more acidic. It's just the way it is. AquaTrue, the countertop one is what I have, doesn't make it more acidic. And that's what I use. That's what I like. So could you add a pinch of something to more alkalinize it? Sure. Okay. Overall, I'm seeing progress in dialing in what supplements and foods work for me. Thank you to everyone who has replied back to a question or posted about what they're learning. I learn from you all every day. Having access to office hours has been invaluable for troubleshooting issues, and I'm so grateful to Dr. Garrett Smith, Kelsey Kenny, and Hope Tipton for their support. I'm so grateful to my support system, my family who helps with my son on my rough days, the people who pray for me on a regular basis, and my Lord Jesus who comforts me and walks beside me through this whole thing. I've never been more grateful for all the blessings in my life, onward and upward. So I do want to add one more thing, and she's doing great, amazing. I'm just going to mention office hours here. So I have seen this person in my office hours. I know who they are. She has gone to Kelsey's office hours. She has gone to Hope's office hours. So I want to emphasize to you guys, if you sign up for a testing and consultation package with any of the health facilitators, you can come to any or all of the health facilitators' office hours, which is basically small group Zoom sessions. Every facilitator does one session a week. So there's 4 a week. There's mine, Nathan's, Hope's, and Kelsey's. We each have a session a week. So there's 4 potential office hours that you could go to, and there's 4 people who you could go and get thoughts on, suggestions on, things to try from. Okay? One of us may see something differently than the other. So yeah, that's 6 months of support. For each package you buy, you get 6 months of support. Troubleshooting, all that stuff. Who else gives you that? Okay, now this is a short one. Teresa Wright, and we also received permission from Morty to use both of their names. On Wardy Harmon's private group, she made a comment on copper, and if you have thyroid issues, you have copper toxicity. Very, very true. She told us how she got off her thyroid medication here. She has a course explaining different diets, and Love Your Liver is discussed in that course. I've tried several times to get off my thyroid medication to no avail, and I am thankful to say that I am now off of them because of being here. I am so thankful I found LYL as in Love Your Liver. Emoji. Anyway, we regularly help people to get off thyroid medications here. Everybody else out there says, once you're on thyroid medication, you're on it for good. Or once you're on TRT, you're on it for good. Or HRT. They just assume, this is the terrible thing in my opinion. There are lots of natural practitioners out there, alternative practitioners, functional medicine practitioners, who totally subscribe to the conventional idea that once a body system is broken, it cannot come back. It cannot be fixed. I never subscribed to that. Maybe that's why I'm here, was because I was always like, why can't the body fix itself? What is keeping the body from fixing itself? And then we came to this simple idea of toxins aren't supposed to be there. Toxins hurt systems. Systems need nutrients to run. Why don't we deplete the toxins and refill the nutrients? And even still, I want you guys to understand, if all we did was deplete the toxins and refill the nutrients, we almost wouldn't even need toxic bile paradigm. Toxic bile paradigm is explaining what's happening in there. But we could still fix these problems with just fixing the toxicities and fixing the nutrients. Okay? Toxic bile paradigm came later after the ideas of toxicities and deficiencies was figured out. Testimonial 3, an eczema. This was written by them. An eczema success story on the low vitamin A lifestyle. Hi guys, he put his name in here. I'm Andres, a 20-year-old and live in Belgium. Since a baby, I've had some eczema in my armpits and the back of my knees, but I just used topical steroids to get rid of them because I thought I was just born like that and nothing could really fix it. The problem was just not serious enough to look into it. That reminds me of my psoriasis. I had psoriasis on my knuckles, and I would notice that it would get better or worse with various things I did, but it never went away. I also had a little on the tops of my toes too. The big toe especially. I used to think it was from doing, like, you know how like dancers will crack their toes? I used to think it was from doing that too much. It wasn't. It's all gone now. So, and I still crack my toes like that. From 15 to 18, I started getting more eczema on my neck, in my back, and slightly in my face. Now it started to bother me. So in the period of my life, I got more into health stuff. That's our joke there. Going to the gym almost daily, trying to bulk up and make muscle while nourishing my body. Unknowingly, I was destroying it. This is the phase of life where everybody seems to get into dairy and whey protein, and like there's just so much dairy and so much vitamin A. Then in the winter of 2023, I started carrot maxing. He got a Peat eating disorder for a tan, which absolutely messed up my liver because I started getting red spots in my face, neck, and shoulders. Really itchy, dry, and irritated skin started to appear with it. It was a very difficult period not being able to go to the gym anymore, not wanting to go out with friends, and I started slacking in school as well. Basically, self-isolation caused by the physical pain plus insecurity. Fast forward 1 year, my eczema spread like the plague, covering my whole face, upper body, and legs. Mental health and confidence on an all-time low. A life no 20-year-old would ever want to live. In this period, I tried everything. Herbal teas, cutting out gluten, dairy, a good thing, yeah, right, and sugar, good as well. Biohacking, lots of stuff that messed me up even more. Immunosuppressants, you name it. But I continued to eat lots of foods high in vitamin A and copper. Eating up to 6 eggs a day was the main thing that allowed my eczema to get worse and worse. Egg cells. Don't listen to the egg nutcases. Okay? It's the egg yolks that are the big issue. It's either egg whites on occasion or no eggs. I see this 19th year of my life as a very important lesson and pivotal moment where I had to go through the pain to learn the truth. Then I stumbled upon Dr. Smith's approach to healing, and I could say it absolutely gave me my life back, for which I'm super grateful. That's why I'm also writing this post, to share with the world what this has done for me, and hopefully to inspire others as well. Feel free to share my testimonial. I've been following the Love Your Liver principles consistently for 4 months now. This is what I currently do, eat, and take. So he got his life back in 4 months, as he put it. Diet follows 95% of the Love Your Liver principles framework. That's what we do. Daily supplements. He's doing 360 to 400 milligrams of nicotinic acid, as in flush niacin, 400 milligrams of potassium gluconate. I have a whole potassium episode you might want to watch. Kelsey and I are going to work on the niacin episode. Hopefully we'll get that done soon. 200 micrograms of selenium, 22 milligrams of zinc picolinate, 200 milligrams of lactoferrin, which is about half of a capsule, I think. Topical magnesium oil, topical zinc. I don't know if this topical zinc is our zinc or not. Either way, might be zinc oxide. Using refined shea butter to moisturize dry spots, walking 10,000 steps daily, and doing moderate exercise 3 to 4 times a week, using vibration plate and massage gun to enhance lymph flow. This is great. Again, I want to thank you, Dr. Smith, for doing what you do, and let this be fuel to continue changing people's lives. You are appreciated. Well, thank you very much. I don't know what I'd be doing if I wasn't doing this. So that's we are here to help. That is what we are here to do. So there's that. I'm going to head into... Oh, so actually, we had an announcement today. Since I did the email, we sent out an email newsletter saying that I have an announcement today about a product. So for those of you who are Love Your Liver members, if you didn't already go and look at the VIP store. So Love Your Liver members get access to the VIP store. The VIP store has more products, and we actually give members of the Love Your Liver program discounted prices. So you may have already gone and looked there after that email. We now have the liquid zinc picolinate back in stock. We reformulated it. It took us 11 months to get it back because we had issues with the manufacturers and just figuring out what we were going to formulate it with. Kelsey came up with the idea of we're using birch bark xylitol. Well, what the manufacturers, let me give you the quick story of this. All the manufacturers we went to, some of you may have noticed that the other liquid zinc picolinate that was on the market is not out anymore. I do not know what happened to it. However, I can tell you that all of the manufacturers we talked to, ours used to be water and zinc picolinate powder. Theirs was water and zinc picolinate powder. Now it's a suspension, which means, so just so you guys understand, you guys who are going to get back to us and be like, but the zinc isn't dissolved in the water. There's very few zincs that dissolve in water completely. Very few. One of them is zinc sulfate, and I'm never touching that. Kelsey may have figured out a zinc that is soluble in water that nobody's really using. So Kelsey's so amazing to have around. She thinks up all sorts of cool things. So anyway, but for now we have zinc picolinate. So think of it, it's kind of like milk of magnesia. If you've ever used milk of magnesia, it is called a suspension. It is a powder in water. So you shake it up. Now, one of the things about the liquid zinc picolinate, when you first get it, you're going to need to turn it over and shake it quite a bit because the powder it's gotten a little compacted on the bottom. So you just got to shake it up for like a minute, maybe 2, to get it all to mix into the water. And then after that, you won't have to shake it that much anymore. You still need to shake it every time. You must shake it every time. It's like milk of magnesia. On the bottle, it says shake before using. On our instructions, it says it's a suspension. You need to shake it before using. The first time you got to shake it the most. After that, you don't have to shake it so much. But anyway, Kelsey, so the manufacturers said they wanted to put in glycerin. Well, glycerin, also known as glycerol, turns into glyceraldehyde. And we really didn't want to put in something that did that. So we chose to do our birch bark, non-GMO xylitol. It's half xylitol, half water by weight, or weight over volume, however you want to say it. So it's 3 ingredients. It's water, birch bark xylitol, and the zinc picolinate. A drop is 2 milligrams. So you can super fine tune your dosing, right? This is what it used to be. It's basically the same product we had before, but the manufacturers would not make it with just water. All of them said, we cannot do this. This is not, we're worried about stuff growing in it. We never had that problem, but all the manufacturers, they were like, can we put glycerin in it? Can we put glycerin? And I was like, no, I'm not putting glycerin in it. And then Kelsey, so great to have around as always, she was like, well, why don't we use xylitol? And I was like, okay. And for those of you who read the one paper where they were like, ooh, xylitol, higher xylitol in the blood was associated with more like heart issues or whatever. Okay. You must understand your body makes 10 to 15 grams of xylitol a day. Your body makes xylitol. Go look it up. 10 to 15 grams a day. Now I want you to imagine, let's say people's detox pathways were not as good as they should be. And for whatever reason, these, whatever detox pathways are all associated with this, it wasn't breaking down the xylitol as well. Well, we know that people who have inhibited detox pathways are not going to be as healthy. So that just makes sense. Okay, you're taking at the most, people are doing anywhere from, normally the max dose, the max foundational dose, I would say would be 15 drops, which is 15 drops times 2 milligrams. That's 30 milligrams a day. Even if people were taking 60 milligrams a day, that's 30 drops, which are half xylitol. It's not any amount of xylitol you have to be concerned about, nor am I concerned about xylitol. It's a lot better to, let's say, get your right dose of zinc in you and or your kids than to worry about some drops worth of xylitol. Okay? So anyway, that's the new announcement. So it's in the VIP store today. It will be released to the general public on the normal shop sometime soon. We'll send out a newsletter. So if you're not subscribed to our newsletter, you might want to go to the website and get on that so you can get the newsletter about when it's available. So anyway, that's the cool announcement for today. We actually do have another product coming soon. Not going to tell you what that is, but it will be coming out soon. So that's exciting. Maybe I'll go over it on the next live stream. So anyway, that's that one. So that's the announcement. We got the testimonials. Joe is going to, well, actually, I want to go over this one first. So we're going to start into things that Dr. Ardis promotes on the internet. Okay. There's a whole links page. So Joe would have put this links page in the live chat, and he will put it as a comment when we're done, and I'll try to remember to pin it. So it'll be at the very top. So if you want to see these, the testimonial link and this show links, the hyperlinks to the stuff that I reference, because I like to reference stuff. Dr. Ardis likes to put things on his website and make claims on podcasts, and he doesn't often or always link the references. And as you'll see, sometimes the references are not connected at all, or they say the opposite of what he's stating. So anyway, let's hit this first. We are not fans of vitamin A around here. The Dr. Ardis Show. Why Dr. Ardis loves vitamin A. He loves it. This is his show. So, yeah, not starting great for us. Let's go to the next one. I'm going to hit on some quotes from this. Sorry, there it is. From this podcast he did. Did you know selenium reverses heart disease in pigs and humans? He hits on some other things in this podcast. So let me head into that. I have the quotes in the hyperlink document. This was a transcript from that video, and I believe he is the only person talking in that video. What he's doing is I believe he's going through 2 books written by other people, and he is talking about his opinions on their recommendations. Okay? This was 2023. Let me just double check. December 12th, 2023, Looking for Healing Radio. Okay. The first quote, hello and welcome, healers, to another edition of Looking for Healing Radio, where pharmaceuticals are not medicine, but love always is. I mean, anyway. Okay. Wait until later when I show how he promotes ivermectin. Wait until later where I show how he promotes calcium EDTA. These are drugs. They are pharmaceuticals, basically. Calcium EDTA is used in hospitals for lead poisoning, which it's in that context, it can be useful. But when you start seeing about what it does when people are taking it long term, like he sells a supplement for, maybe things aren't going to look so good. So now he was commenting here on the book recommended benign prostatic hyperplasia treatment. So a swollen prostate. Oh, you want me to zoom in the page a little bit? Here, sorry, Joe's asking me to zoom in. Okay. Oh, I didn't do the, let's do the view. Full screen. There we go. So regarding BPH treatment, 300,000 international units of vitamin A. Absolutely. So he's agreeing with the book recommendation here as beta carotene, as if taking beta carotene, 1 beta carotene turns into 2 retinaldehydes, if you didn't know. And always on these, as if you look into the transcript, he's always talking about essential fatty acids right after it. How do you absorb vitamin A most effectively and efficiently? With fat. This is a daily dose that he's talking about, just so you know. This is daily. What are the 3 supplements that are known to cause problems that the media loves to demonize all supplements with? Beta carotene, retinol palmitate, vitamin E. What does vitamin E do? Vitamin E increases the storage of vitamin A in your liver by up to 10 times. Okay, so now, cancer treatments. Now remember that retinoic acid, I've been over this many times, retinoic acid is used as chemotherapy. What does all vitamin A that you take in basically eventually become? Well, all retinoids, carotenoids like beta carotene, alpha carotene, and anything that turns into retinol, it all becomes eventually retinoic acid. So doing carrot juicing for cancer, taking obscene amounts of beta carotene for cancer, to trying to eat liver or the old Gerson liver extract injections. These are massive doses of vitamin A that turn into retinoic acid, which is chemotherapy. The exact same molecule. This is what they find in the blood. They can feed people more vegetables. I've been over this paper. They feed people more vegetables and they find more retinoic acid in their pee. Okay? The same stuff that's chemotherapy. And it's not good chemotherapy. It doesn't work that well. Okay, listen to this first line. Try to overdose on beta carotene. It's almost impossible, which is vitamin A. First sign is dry skin at about an equivalent of vitamin A at 300,000 international units per day is what you should do. So first sign is dry skin at an equivalent of about 300 international units per day is what you should do. So he's try to overdose. Interesting. Regarding autoimmunity and cancer treatment. So this is my this was right before this. He was talking about autoimmunity and cancer treatments. He's talking about the author of the book. He mentions beta carotene taken with vitamin E can be taken as much as 600,000 units. That's vitamin A. This will be of significant benefit in cancer therapy programs, especially carcinomas. Folks, don't you think that if beta carotene was a magical cancer cure that everybody would have figured it out by now? Like, it's not like it hasn't been around for a while. It's not like there's people not taking obscene doses of beta carotene and vitamin A, and nobody's out there saying this is a cancer cure, except maybe Dr. Ardis. Regarding canker and cold sores treatments, the treatment should include vitamin E at 800, 1200 units a day, B complexes at 50 milligrams each, and vitamin A at 300,000 international units as beta carotene. So he's talking about the book. I actually love all these recommendations. These are quotes from the transcript. 300,000 to 600,000 units of beta carotene a day. Remember, each beta carotene is cleaved by your body into 2 retinaldehydes. Your body doesn't always cleave them right away because it doesn't want to poison itself and it needs to detox them, but it doesn't want to do it all at once. So then it stores the beta carotene in your skin in place and your body fat, which is why the skin turns orange or yellowish. That's why people are trying to self-tan like the carrot maxing gentleman who commented earlier. He was trying to get a tan with carrots because it stores in your skin. It also stores in your body fat. I used to have a quote from a plastic surgeon who said he knew when women ate healthy because when he would give them liposuction, their fat came out orange. You're storing the extra. So when they say that beta carotene and carotenoids don't really raise your blood vitamin A that much, that's because your body doesn't want to raise it too much and it stores it in the fat and the skin until it can pull it out again to send it to the liver. I've been over that before, how the body can actually convert beta carotene in the skin into retinol esters before it sends it to the liver. What do we do with retinol esters in the liver? We store them. That's their main storage form. There's also carotenoid esters, which is carotenoid bound to a fat or retinol bound to a fat. Retinol esters, retinol bound to a fatty acid. Carotenoid esters, a carotenoid bound to a fatty acid ester. Now, let's hit on this. I just wanted to show you he does like vitamin A. This is his What was this? Breathe Free, vitamin A and C powered. Vitamin A as beta carotene and retinol. It's actually, I'm sure it's retinol palmitate. There's quite a few typos on these pages. Nobody sells retinol palmitate. 5,000 units. So you're getting more than the RDA in just a pill. We do have some organ stuff here too. Anyway, let's keep going. This is what he wants to give your kids. Doc's Healthy Kids Chewable Multivitamin, berry flavor. Let's go down here. We got vitamin A, 900 micrograms. D, we got rat poison. We got vitamin E. We got niacinamide, which you don't want to use. We got B6, so they can start early on neuropathies, and copper. Yeah, don't. Okay, and now there was something else I wanted to get to on this. Let me get to that image. Let me close this, and then let's go here. So this, I got to do a different share screen. Let me find that, Joe. I got to do the entire screen. Hold on, let me pull this up. Oh, this is a pain. Hold on, window. There it is. Got it. Okay. So now, Joe, you can see it. Oh, wait, I can't. There we go. Okay. This was a screenshot that Kelsey had taken from his website. He used to have an FAQ on the clear skin complex, which I saw on another podcast. He mentioned it containing vitamin A. I looked at the formula again. It does not contain vitamin A now. But this was from an FAQ. Why is my urine orange? First off, thanks so much for diligently taking the clear skin complex, even though you saw something distressing in your urine. Second, this is the most common question we get from someone just taking the supplement for the first time. Not to worry at all. It is perfectly normal. So why is your urine orange? This is part of the supplement. The proprietary, we can't tell you what's in it, blend of ingredients contains natural ingredients, and these contain colors, also known as aposematism in nature, which is where nature marks things with colors that are toxic, that come in the soil they are grown in. To be clear, this is not a chemical. I don't know what chemicals are otherwise, but rather a perfectly natural result of using natural ingredients. The body passes these through the system and they come out in urine or stools. The best part is this shows that your body is doing exactly what it should be doing. You mean detoxing? Interesting concept. Why is your body pushing this stuff out? That's the question you want to ask. So we got that. Now let's go. So we got that one. Here we go. Let's do. So we're now into. Dr. Ardis loves virus theory. He's a big virus theory guy, right? Because he talks about the SARS-CoV-2 and all these Venom Peptides, and you know how it's similar to the virus genome and all this stuff. Well, that's how that you want to not venture too far from the mainstream narrative, right? The mainstream narrative is we are victims of a virus, a new scary virus that came from animals. And Dr. Ardis starts talking about venom peptides as being the cause of this viral disease and the cause of most chronic diseases. You just have to get these venom peptides out of you. But I wanted to go, so we have a different theory of viruses here, which is that virus diseases, I don't get into the whole like viruses don't exist, because why? Well, here's the funny thing. How did they keep all these scientists? Did they pay off all these scientists to be looking at things and saying, there's nothing there, but I have to tell everybody that there's something there? So they did something to these petri dishes, whatever you want to call it. And so these scientists saw something. The problem is that same something happens in tissues and cell cultures that don't have viruses in them, that they know don't have viruses in them. So the same, what they're seeing, what they're calling viruses, what they're calling it, seems to exist. The problem is they don't do what they say that they do, and they appear in totally normal, healthy things too. Okay? So I'm not one to jump into the whole like, DNA doesn't exist, viruses don't exist, because they've got these people studying something. Unless they have all these people going, well, you're looking at nothing. There's nothing really there, but we're just going to tell everybody. So I haven't jumped that far yet. But I want to hit on this. So this is the paper that he likes to talk about the Venom Peptides, SARS-CoV-2 spike ectodomain. Let me make this a little bigger before Joe snaps at me. Oh, sorry. Let me share it. Got to do that first, right, Joe? SARS-CoV-2 spike, the spike protein nonsense. We went over that in the sussy, potentially undisclosed jabby ingredient video, the live stream. Okay, where I went over spike protein and what it binds to. A toxin. That's weird. SARS-CoV-2 spike ectodomain targets, I believe that's alpha-7 nicotinic acetylcholine receptors. Notice, now I'm just going to say, people will say, well, the nicotinic acetylcholine receptors don't bind to nicotinic acid, but it sure is weird that they named it nicotinic, which is flush niacin. They'll say nicotine binds to the nicotinic acid or nicotinic acetylcholine receptors, the NACHR, but they named it nicotinic. But then you look on the internet and they'll say nicotinic acid doesn't bind to these things. Nicotine does. And you go, well, why in the world did they name it that? That's weird. We need nicotinic acid to live, and we don't need nicotine to live, but nicotine binds to these receptors and nicotinic acid doesn't? So weird. Like, so people can argue with me and they can say they looked on the internet and all these things don't match up, but I'm saying they named it this for a reason. Nicotine is not an essential nutrient. But let me just pay attention here. The SARS-CoV-2 glycoprotein contains a neurotoxin-like region. Let's just focus in on this word. Contains a neurotoxin. What do I tell you that virus diseases are in my framework? Toxins, toxicity. It would be weird if they found multiple viruses like HIV and COVID that had, and then SARS, and then this, and then they're saying snake venom, which is a toxin. They all have these same regions in them. That would be weird if it was just a toxin that linked them all, right? Wouldn't that be weird? So are they just admitting here that it's like a toxin? Sorta. So then let me just hit on this paper real quick. If you want to read about vitamin A and stored vitamin A coming out and causing viral diseases, this is the one you want to read. Liver damage and exposure to toxic concentrations of endogenous, created from within, as in like you turn beta carotene into retinol, into retinaldehyde, into retinoic acid. Each one of those changes they call endogenous are from within the body because it's happening in the body. Endogenous retinoids, that's vitamin A family, in the pathogenesis or disease creation of COVID-19 disease hypothesis. This is Anthony Mawson's paper, one of the great men after Grant Genereux. Grant Genereux started the whole low vitamin A idea. Anthony Mawson was writing papers about how all these diseases look like vitamin A toxicity. These are the two men who built the foundation that I'm standing on their shoulders and going further forward. So, yeah, toxin. A toxin. Okay. Now, I wanted to hit on the next part I was going to hit on was the fact that Dr. Ardis really likes ivermectin. Okay. He loves ivermectin. Now, the funny thing is that ivermectin is a pesticide. It's an insecticide. What is nicotine? A pesticide, an insecticide. And we're going to go over that. Why are they recommending that we all take pesticides, insecticides for health? So the difference between you and an insect, okay, insecticides are toxic for you in general. The difference is it takes a lot less to kill a bug. You have to accumulate it in your tissues. Are most of these compounds, most of them are fat soluble. Nicotine isn't. Nicotine is water soluble, or it may be amphipathic, which means it can be in both. It can be both water soluble and fat soluble. I think. I'm pretty sure on that. Anyway, so he likes ivermectin. He wanted to debunk a study that said ivermectin was bad. Okay. Oh, wait, I didn't want to start the playing. Okay, so here, Dr. Ardis, how to get ivermectin in the hospital and avoid acute flaccid myelitis in children. Okay, so how to get ivermectin. He likes ivermectin. I'm not going to spend much time on this. Okay? He likes it. But didn't he say pharmaceuticals are not medicine? Didn't he say that? That's weird. I'm pretty sure ivermectin is a pharmaceutical. How does that line up? So now let's go into an interesting thing. I am making no accusations here. I am simply reading stuff on the internet. So, henrymacau.com. This is the question. May 22nd, was Rashid Buttar poisoned? Very sad news. Dr. Rashid Buttar has died. Okay. Let's go down to the comment here. Let me zoom in on this. Sorry, let me go back down to it. This is what someone posted. I do not know who this person is, but they are not the only person asking this question. Hi, Henry. I have personal knowledge of what happened to Buttar. But the trouble is, it's not the narrative everyone wants to hear. Buttar was poisoned sometime during, let me zoom in a little more. Sometime during or after the Clay Clark tours last summer. Seeking help, he went to his colleague, Dr. Bartlett, for help, but declined to be treated by him. Dr. Bartlett is aware of the ivermectin toxicity, but has told my friend it's not his fight, quote, and he simply does not use it in practice. My friend is a friend of Dr. Bartlett. Buttar instead opted to be treated by Dr. Edward Group and Dr. Ardis. They both push ivermectin, and they were advising him to take ivermectin in order to heal. The trouble is, whether they are aware or not, ivermectin is very toxic, and especially to those carrying a not so uncommon gene variant called MDR1, multi-drug resistance efflux pump. This is P-glycoprotein, folks. MDR1, the gene for MDR1 is what makes P-glycoprotein. We talk about P-glycoprotein. This is how you detox your cells. So if you genetically are not as good at detoxing your cells, you are more likely to get ivermectin toxicity. I mean, everybody's going to get ivermectin toxicity if they take enough. But some people are extra slow at getting rid of it. Tim Truth is correct in his speculation here and also highlights some concerning views expressed by Buttar. And we're going to go to that video. We're not going to watch it. I hope you'll take the time to watch, and you're very smart. I enjoy your blog. Ivermectin solves that quandary of how the deep state planned to also poison those who did not take the vax. Where have you heard that before? And this is the video by Tim Truth, if you choose to watch it. This is the title of it. Dr. Buttar has died. Did the ivermectin he promoted kill him? He never did tell people its risks. I mean, I don't know what happened. I do know karma can be a bitch, though. So there's another head guy of what used to be a big pro-ivermectin Telegram group who also died quite young, coincidentally. So now we're going to head into EDTA. EDTA is another thing that here we're on Ardis's shop. Nature wins EDTA. Right, this reminds me of like Q stuff. Like it's honestly. So let's just go in here. Calcium disodium EDTA. At least it has the triple distilled biophotonic structured water in it. That'll fix everything. First ingredient is glycerin. What I wouldn't put in my stuff. So he's selling EDTA. EDTA, if you did not know, is a pharmaceutical drug. They can sell it over the counter. It's kind of like methylene blue. It's a pharmaceutical. It's used in hospitals. And it's also sold to people as supplements. Now, I wanted to hit on some things here. EDTA. Let me make this bigger. Oh, why is that there? Can I get rid of this? I guess I can't. Let me make that a little smaller so I can... Let's jump with GLASP. There we go. Okay, so what can EDTA cause? EDTA is a chelating agent. It's typically called calcium EDTA, but there are different versions of it. EDTA is a chelator. Anytime you hear somebody talk about chelating agents, you must understand that they do not just grab onto bad minerals. Chelate means claw. They grab onto all sorts of minerals, including good ones. So we are here on rxlist.com, right? This is a drug site. What can it cause? It can cause low potassium or hypokalemia. EDTA can bind with potassium and increase the amount of potassium that is flushed out in the urine. Just what we need, right? This might cause potassium levels to drop too low, especially in people who have low levels to begin with. If you have this problem, don't use EDTA. So again, we go low magnesium levels in the blood. EDTA can bind with magnesium and increase the amount of magnesium that is flushed out in the urine. What are the two minerals that I tell people, if you get these right, you can feel better the quickest with? Magnesium and potassium. This is weird that it binds to these things and can flush them out of you. I remember in naturopathic medical school, our head environmental medicine, which was our detox guy, the environmental medicine department was basically saying toxicity department. He knew that with chelators, you had to give them back minerals. The problem was he was giving them lots of minerals like manganese and copper and chromium and poisoning them with toxic minerals at the same time he was trying to get the bad minerals out of them with like EDTA or DMSA, these pharmaceutical chelating agents. This is weird. Liver problems and hepatitis. EDTA might make liver disease worse. Avoid using EDTA if you have a liver condition. Well, now, if you took away good minerals, you need nutrients for your liver to run. That might make sense. Large amounts of EDTA can decrease potassium levels in the body. Water pills, as in diuretics, can also decrease potassium in the body. Taking EDTA along with water pills might decrease potassium in the body too much. So that's just magnesium and potassium. Let's get into some very, very important minerals. Okay. Depletion of intracellular zinc from neurons, nerve cells, by use of an extracellular chelator in vivo, so like in actual living creatures and in vitro. So wow, it happened in both. So it's depleting what's inside the cell by using a chelator that stays outside of the cell. Must be pretty strong. They make sure to say this at the start. The membrane impermeable. It can't get through membranes. The chelator, calcium EDTA, was introduced extracellularly among neurons in vivo and in vitro for the purpose of chelating extracellular zinc. Unexpectedly, this treatment caused histochemically reactive zinc in intracellular compartments to drop rapidly. The same general result was seen with intravesicular zinc, which fell after calcium EDTA infusion into the lateral ventricle of the brain. It is depleting zinc everywhere. Wait, it's genetically toxic too? Did I make it too big and now I lost my... There we go. Genetic toxicology of ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid, EDTA. EDTA is used to remove calcium from the human body. Well, that could be bad for osteoporosis and stuff like that. Because the compound is of rather low toxicity, it is used as a food additive to bind metal ions. We're going to come back to this. They're saying it's rather low toxicity. We just saw it could cause liver injury. We know it takes away good minerals. And now they're saying it can be used in food to bind metal ions. Some early studies have shown that EDTA leads to morphological changes, as in shape changes, like the shape of something, changes of chromatin and chromosome structure in plant and animal cells. That's not good. These alterations consist of dispersion, or that's spreading things out, or swelling of chromosomes, or a loss of interphase chromatin structure. For several test symptoms, a low chromosome breaking activity of EDTA has been reported. A weak activity in the induction of gene mutations has also been observed. So it's breaking chromosomes, inducing gene mutations. It is well established that EDTA influences chromosome breakage by mutagenic, as in it mutates DNA agents. In particular, when applied in combination with chemical mutagens, so synergistic toxins, I don't know, like Ivermectin maybe. EDTA enhances mutagen-induced aberration frequencies. So more aberrations in the DNA happen. Toxins are synergistic. They always have been. Furthermore, the chelating agent is able to increase the incidence of meiotic crossing over. This has been demonstrated for many gene loci in Drosophila melanogaster, Chlamydomonas reinhardti, Neurospora crassa, and Zea mays. EDTA interferes with DNA repair processes that take place after exposure to things that would mutate your DNA. Sounds delightful. You love your liver people are going to love this one. Toxicity of bean cooking media containing EDTA in mice. The possible renal, kidney, and hepatic liver toxicities of ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid, EDTA, in bean cooking media were studied using 100 male albino mice. 2 sublethal doses of EDTA were used to explore their toxic effects, 20 milligrams per kilogram and 200 milligrams per kilogram, which corresponded to 1/100th and 1/10 of the lethal dose of 50% of the mice. So this is the dose that would kill, LD50 is the dose that would kill 50% of the mice. One of their doses is 1/100th of that, respectively. Accordingly, the toxicity study was performed using 50 mice, divided into 5 groups, 10 per group, as follows. Group 1, a negative control. They did nothing to them, and was orally administered normal saline. Group 2 was administered the bean cooking medium. Group 3 was administered EDTA, no bean cooking medium. Group 4 was administered bean cooking medium containing 20 milligrams per kilogram of EDTA, and Group 5 was administered bean cooking medium containing 200 milligrams per kilogram of EDTA. The results showed no significant changes in the liver and kidney functions in GP2. That was just the bean cooking medium, right? Yeah, they just got the bean cooking, like the bean water or whatever they were giving it. Okay. No significant changes in liver and kidney functions in GP2, while GP3, GP4, and GP5, all the ones that got EDTA, exhibited significant increases in adverse bad liver and kidney function markers. Hematocrit values, as in like anemia type markers, were significantly decreased in GP3 and GP5, while the total white blood cell counts were significantly decreased in GP3 and significantly increased in GP5. White blood cells are your cleanup crew. So certain things making them go up is telling you that there's toxicity around, and over time, as things get too toxic, they go down. The first thing we tend to see is a spike, Second thing we tend to see is the drop. That's what happens in autoimmune conditions too. People have an initial spike, usually when they're getting their first sickness, and then over time they drop, and that's when they get the chronic conditions because your cleanup crew is getting beat down. The number of platelets was decreased in GP3, GP4, and GP5, all the EDTA ones. The blood levels of sodium, iron, and calcium were decreased in GP3, GP4, and GP5 due to the chelating effects of EDTA. The hepatic and renal architectures, as in the structure of the inside of them, were disorganized in GP3, GP4, and GP5 with some hemorrhagic, as in bleeding, manifestations in livers and kidneys of mice. Now pay attention to this. These results demonstrate that EDTA in bean cooking is harmful in mice under the conditions of this study, and the potentially harmful effects in humans supports restricting its use. Wait, I thought it was safe, but now they're saying they should restrict its use. And then you got people selling it as supplements. I just noticed patterns, you know? So there's this paper, that zinking feeling. That doesn't sound good to start off with. The effects of EDTA on the behavior of zinc-binding transcriptional regulators. Hold on, my standing desk decided to jump all of a sudden. Okay. Zinc-binding proteins. Now, so I've told people zinc has binding proteins. Yes. Binding proteins are often a marker of something that is toxic. The body has an amazing amount of, so the more binding proteins you find, so you find tons of binding proteins for iron, and you find tons of binding proteins for zinc. Do we have to have those to live? Yes. Do we want to keep them now, if they get out of control, can they cause problems? Yes. I always tell people out there seem to think that zinc has no toxicity. Don't do that. Zinc toxicity exists. Can you take too much zinc? Yes. Do you need zinc? Yes. Can you take too much iron? Yes. Do you need iron? Yes. The body keeps these under very tight control. Okay. Zinc binding proteins account for nearly half of the transcription regulatory proteins in the human genome. That's pretty important if it's half of them, and are the most abundant class of proteins in the human proteome. Pretty important. Their studies revealed that EDTA treatment of native C/H1 leads to irreversible denaturation. That's when proteins are broken apart, and aggregation. That's clumping. EDTA is a very potent zinc chelating agent that is used ubiquitously in protein interaction studies and in molecular biology in general. Pay attention here. The potentially detrimental effects of EDTA on the structure and interactions of zinc-binding proteins should be taken into account in the interpretation of a sizable number of published studies and must be considered in future experiments. They're saying using EDTA in studies is screwing up the zinc. That's what they're saying. Okay, let's keep going. I don't think I highlighted this one. Just another one about how EDTA screws up zinc. Changes in zinc metabolism during the use of EDTA. EDTA also has a very high stability constant for zinc and therefore is expected to bind and remove this essential trace element. So it binds to lead too, but it binds to zinc pretty darn well. And now let's just go into an actual study on dogs. Depletion of essential elements by calcium disodium EDTA treatment in the dog. Calcium sodium EDTA treatment increased urinary excretion of zinc, copper, and manganese significantly when compared to controls. These tend to group together. So we try to put in less of these. If you go and look up cancer, you'll find copper everywhere. If you go and look up Parkinson's disease, you'll find manganese everywhere. You can find manganese in all sorts of neurotoxicity studies. And there's almost always a zinc deficiency. Okay. Furthermore, calcium EDTA either decrease zinc levels in the hair, duodenum, that's the gut, and the skin, and manganese levels in only the hair, or increased copper levels in the kidneys. That's not good. So wait, EDTA is increasing copper levels in the kidneys. These data suggest that the sustained urinary loss of zinc, copper, and manganese was probably associated in part with mobilization and redistribution of these essential elements. You know how I talk about stirring things up? From storage tissues as well as soft tissues, it was concluded that the use of calcium disodium EDTA for the management of heavy metal poisoning in dogs could adversely affect the metabolism of essential elements, particularly zinc, copper, and manganese. Not exactly what you want if you're trying to restore your nutrients now, is it? Okay. So now we're going to head into Ardis's big, what's cause de celebre, or whatever, however you pronounce that, nicotine. Okay. He thinks nicotine can fix everything, was what I got. So I'm going to go into stuff about, so, okay, let me start off here. Your body does not need nicotine. Your body does need nicotinic acid. Plants turn nicotinic acid into nicotine as a pesticide to protect themselves. Your body does not turn nicotinic acid into nicotine. Your body doesn't want nicotine. Your body detoxes it by a specific cytochrome pathway called, I believe it's 2A6. Your body has a detox pathway in the liver that specifically, you know, it doesn't, I mean, it addresses more things than just nicotine, but it addresses nicotine. Your body wants to detox nicotine. So, hello. Sorry, my daughter just showed up. Let's go down here to, where was it? Biosynthesis. So, there's stuff on the internet where it says nicotinic acid and nicotine are not connected at all. Okay, they're very connected. I'm going to show you this. Everything you see people out there saying nicotine does that's good is really the nicotinic acid, as you'll see, doing the work. We don't need nicotine. The biosynthesis of nicotine in plants. The biosynthetic pathway of nicotine involves a coupling reaction between the two cyclic structures that comprise nicotine. Metabolic studies show that the pyridine ring of nicotine is derived from nicotinic acid. The plant to make nicotine has to have nicotinic acid. So are they connected? Well, they're kind of connected. Okay. Don't need nicotine. Even plants need nicotinic acid to make nicotine. Okay. So let's keep going. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, we'll do that after the plant alkaloids. Okay. So we got here. This paper, let me zoom in on this. Can I zoom in? There we go. Let me close this. Okay. The plant alkaloids, right? Let's mark it. 1949. Likely before big tobacco. Okay. Let's go look at what they were saying about nicotine in 1949. Find the next one. Where is it? Did I pass it? I couldn't mark this very well. Let me do this. Nicotiniana is, I believe, how they... Come on. There it is. Okay. Here we go. Let me find it. The best source of the alkaloids is commercial nicotine, quote nicotine, or the concentrated tobacco extracts used as horticultural insecticides. It's an insecticide. Okay. Oh, here we go. This is the part I wanted to read. 1949. Tobacco and its alkaloids have long ceased or stopped to have any therapeutic importance, but their extensive use as insecticides and the demand for nicotine for the manufacture of nicotinic acid have stimulated interest for the processes of extraction and methods of estimation. So nicotine, when you oxidize it, we don't talk about oxidation here, do we? Nicotine, when you oxidize it, which is part of your detox processes, turns into nicotinic acid. So people who are trying to take nicotine, smoke, whatever, they're basically taking a poorly absorbed, ineffective, just a terribly inefficient way of getting, sorry, I didn't want to say ineffective. It does, the benefits to tobacco are from the nicotinic acid that people are getting. Kelsey did her calculations and she estimated that smoking a pack of cigarettes would get somebody about 30 milligrams of nicotinic acid a day by burning the tobacco and oxidizing it and then breathing it in. And there is nicotinic acid in cigarette smoke. I'm not suggesting you go smoke. I'm saying this is how, if anybody wants to say tobacco is good for you or nicotine is good for you, they're basically saying you need nicotinic acid. Okay. So let's keep going. On the latter subject, there is a voluminous literature of which critical resumes have been published by various authors. Recent work on this subject has been specially concerned with, one, the development of micro and semi-micro methods suitable for estimating nicotine in tobacco smoke and the distribution of nicotine on sprayed garden produce. They're trying to figure out how to measure it. Where was that all I needed? I think that was all I needed. Yeah, that's all I wanted to hit on that one. Now I wanted to go to the World Book Encyclopedia. Joe, let me go share this for you. Share the screen window. There we go. Okay, got it. So, Webster's Dictionary and Encyclopedia from 1960. Let's go through what it said. Nicotine, a colorless poisonous oil contained in tobacco used in making insecticides. Nicotinism, disorders caused by excessive use of tobacco. Nicotine, an alkaloid, can be found in the leaves of the tobacco plant, a liquid compound of carbon, hydrogen, and nitrogen used as an insecticide. It is very poisonous, less than 1 drop being a fatal dose. Yeah. So that's what we're going to go over on that one. Okay. So nicotine analysis in several non-tobacco plant materials. So this is a big thing. Ardis likes to talk about. He likes to talk about nicotine in plants as being some amazing source of nicotine. Okay. Where was it? Nicotine is natural. I don't know why this didn't load my GLASP. Nicotine is found naturally in plants from the Solanaceae family. The plants from the Nicotina genus contain large levels of nicotine. That's tobacco. Okay. However, only low levels are present in plants from Solanum genus, including potato, tomato, eggplant, and from Capsicum genus, which are used as food. Because the levels of nicotine in these materials are in the range of parts per billion, the measurements are difficult and the results are very different from study to study. The present study evaluated the level of nicotine in a number of plants, fruits, roots, leaves, tubers from Solanaceae family. That's nightshades. Not including Nicotiana genus and from several other vegetables commonly used as food. They were talking about its parts per billion. Is that this paper? Yeah, in the range of parts per billion. You're not getting any decent nicotine from food if that's what you're trying to do, folks. Okay? Six foods you may not have realized contain nicotine. 100 micrograms. So Ardis is talking about using plants for nicotine, and he's talking about using 7 milligram or multi-milligram patches of nicotine, anywhere from 1 milligram up a day. 1 milligram. This is 0.1 of a milligram. Okay? These are nothing. And he makes a statement that nicotine from foods is like 100 times more bioavailable than from smoking or patches or whatever. I don't know where. I have not seen that study. So now tobacco and its evil cousin nicotine are good as a pesticide. We're hitting on it's a pesticide. Tobacco, used on a small scale as a natural organic pesticide for hundreds of years, is getting new scientific attention as a potential mass-produced alternative to traditional commercial pesticides. Okay, I want you to pay attention to why is the psyop of tobacco and nicotine building up? Why are they pushing tobacco? Why are they pushing nicotine? Well, they kind of answer it right here. Cedric Bryans and colleagues note that concerns about the health risks of tobacco have reduced demand and hurt tobacco farmers in some parts of the world. Scientists are looking for new uses for tobacco. One potential use is as a natural pesticide due to tobacco's content of toxic nicotine. Okay? They're looking to sell more tobacco and nicotine. The scientists tested tobacco bio-oil against a wide variety of insect pests, including 11 different funguses, 4 bacteria, and the Colorado potato beetle, a major agricultural pest that is increasingly resistant to current insecticides. The oil killed all of the beetles and blocked the growth of 2 types of bacteria and 1 fungus. Even after removal of the nicotine, the oil remained a very effective pesticide. So just the tobacco by itself is a pesticide. Then you got the nicotine adding to it. Then we have a whole chapter on nicotinoids, like retinoids. Nicotine toxicity varies a great deal with the mode and form of application. Nicotine has moderate to high toxicity for all vertebrates. In poisoning of vertebrates by nicotine, but wait, it's not toxic, right? Oh, but you can poison animals, vertebrates. The symptoms are as follows: salivation and vomiting, muscular weakness and fibrillation, and clonic convulsions and cessation of respiration. Nicotine kills insects rapidly, often within an hour. When applied externally, tremors and convulsions are seen, followed by paralysis. Nicotine is metabolized primarily in the liver and appears in urine of dogs and humans as cotinine, and the acid of cotinine is a lactam. I believe that's a class of antibiotics. Lactam, beta-lactam antibiotics. Anyway. So, let's keep going. So, first off, I link the nicotine PDF to Ardis's nicotine PDF multiple times in those links. Okay? First, he will say that nicotine is not addictive. Have you guys come across people who vape nicotine or chew the Zins and notice that they're addicted to it? Would you say they're addicted to it? Do they build up tolerance to it and need more? Do they get symptoms when they take them away? That's called withdrawal. Addiction is noted by tolerance and withdrawal. So, have you guys ever noticed those vapors, like they're sucking on it all day long? And when they start, they're maybe using it every so often, and then as they go, they use it all the time. Okay? Same thing. People used to say that marijuana was not addictive. Anyone who's ever been around weed for long enough knows that weed is addictive. There's a tolerance and there's a withdrawal. Now, I will give tobacco this. Nicotine by itself is less addictive than tobacco. It is less addictive than tobacco. I was talking to my buddy about this the other day. He said quitting cigarettes, when he quit, he was horrible. When his wife quit, he said he practically got a divorce because she became so mean for months. Okay. He said quitting nicotine was easier, but it was still addictive. I said to him, I said, people say it's not addictive. And he's like, whatever. Like it is addictive. Okay. There's this thing in society called a nic fit. Did they call it a tobacco fit? No, they called it a nicotine fit. Nic, short form for nicotine, fit, to freak out. Okay. People who are addicted to nicotine products will have nic fits when they don't get enough of it. Anybody who's been around people who are doing this know this. Now, what does Ardis like to talk about? The two papers. These are the two papers he uses to justify saying that nicotine is not addictive. Okay, let me zoom in on these. Wait. He uses this paper. Let me go back up to the top. A study of pyrazines in cigarettes and how additives might be used to enhance tobacco addiction. Okay, we all know that the big tobacco adds chemicals, compounds to cigarettes to make them more addictive. And I always thought this back then. I said they're going to add more stuff to the light cigarettes because people who smoke light cigarettes are admitting by smoking light cigarettes that they're bad for them and that they're probably trying to quit. They're probably moving toward quitting. Light cigarettes are more toxic than normal cigarettes. Okay. So might they add things to make it more toxic and therefore more addictive? Yes. Okay. So that's fine. What do we get into down here? Cigarette additives. Oh, wait, where was it? There it was. Cigarette additives and ingredients with chemosensory effects that promote addiction by acting synergistically with nicotine. Poisons of a feather flock together. Increasing product appeal, easing smoking initiation, discouraging cessation, or promoting relapse should be regulated by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. That's all fine and good. These are the references that they use to try to say it's not addictive. Okay. This is the first one. I'm going to go to that one. Conditioned sucrose sugar aversions, as in not wanting it, produced by naloxone precipitated withdrawal from acutely administered morphine. Where is nicotine in this? This is one of the references that they used to so Ardis uses the main reference, and then inside the paper, this is one of the references that is said to be associated with nicotine not being addictive. Nicotine is not mentioned in this paper. Okay, that's weird. This is the other paper. Nicotine self-administration in animals, a re-evaluation. They're saying that all the studies on nicotine as addictive by itself are flawed. As a result of these systematic flaws, the role of nicotine as a reinforcer in this paradigm has not been established. So it hasn't been established. That doesn't mean it's not true. Anybody who's been out seeing people sucking on vapes and taking Zins knows that it's addictive. Let's keep going. 2014. So one of the things that people like to do is the Surgeon General did a report in 2010 about how nicotine was addictive. And the problem is in the research, when you look back in the research, they conflate, as in they say they're the same thing. They say tobacco and nicotine are the same thing. They're not the same thing. We're not dumb. We know this, but they do it. Okay. Probably the nicotine industry, which is also, big tobacco is who provides all the nicotine. Okay. They need a market. They're not selling as much stuff anymore until they started doing the nicotine thing. And then wouldn't it be weird if you had somebody in the alternative community come out and start saying nicotine is good for you? So then people start buying it more. Okay. With these mice, dissociation of tolerance and nicotine withdrawal associated deficits in contextual fear. They gave these mice in this study a nicotine pump or a saline pump. Okay, so mice don't smoke. At least I haven't seen any recently. But they're saying that tolerance and withdrawal happen in these mice. Let me go find the this is the summary at the bottom. Chronic nicotine so people will say nicotine helps you learn, it helps you think. It's like a nootropic or a nootropic. Chronic nicotine treatment, as in long-term, produces tolerance to the effects of nicotine on learning. So the benefit to your cognition and learning goes away over time. Onset of tolerance is dose dependent. Okay, the more you take, the quicker the faster tolerance comes on, right? That makes sense. That's almost anything with drugs. That's a drug effect. Nicotine withdrawal disrupts learning. The onset of tolerance occurs before the onset of withdrawal. They're just saying these don't come at the same time. This is what they found from giving these mice, I believe it was mice, IV nicotine. This was after the 2010 paper. Okay. And finally, we want to hit on this. This is a patent. Flush niacin used as oral supplementation for treating withdrawal in a smoking cessation program. Why could they do that? Are these things related at all? The present invention addresses a vitamin and a method for cessation of cigarette smoking. The physiological symptoms of nicotine withdrawal can range from distressing to severe in nature. Flush niacin as in nicotinic acid tablets are employed as an atypical nicotine replacement therapy in a suggested dosing routine. This immediate release form of vitamin, this is pellagra preventative, that's what they call flush niacin, provides a rapid benzodiazepine-like effect. They're saying it chills them out. It calms them down as it passes through the blood-brain barrier to effectively quell or calm down the subject. So they're not saying it's a benzo. They're saying it gives a benzodiazepine-like effect, as in it chills them out. What do nic fit people, tobacco or nicotine need? They need chill out. Why would nicotinic acid be related to this? Oh gosh, because it's what they actually want from the nicotine products, the tobacco products, okay? So now, let's keep going. Oh, so I wanted to hit on this real quick. So you know how I told you Kelsey said that 30 milligrams of niacin was what somebody would get from smoking a pack of cigarettes? That number kind of becomes important here when you look at association of niacin intake. They're talking about from foods and supplements with constipation in adults. Results from the National Health and Nutrition Examination. What was the amount of niacin that helped? The findings of this study suggested that daily intake of 0 to 18 milligrams of niacin was associated with a higher risk of constipation compared to a daily intake of 18 to 27 milligrams of niacin. So, 30 milligrams would do something. See what I'm saying? So if they're eating foods, they get niacin. They smoke, they get niacin. They're getting more than 18 to 27 milligrams automatically. Okay. We make a 25 milligram flush niacin pill. You're already into this range, even if you don't need any food. So that bit of flush niacin or nicotinic acid that comes from nicotine, as you're going to see, it can come from all sorts of ways. Remember, plants turn nicotinic acid into nicotine for a pesticide effect as a chemical warfare defense. And when you oxidize nicotine, it turns into nicotinic acid. Let me show you. Oh, this was the paper he likes to quote about long COVID. Is it an impairment of acetylcholine orchestrated neuromodulation that responds to nicotine administration? It's just a nicotinic acid deficiency. It's niacin deficiency. They gave treating several individuals suffering from post-COVID-19 syndrome with a nicotine patch application. We witnessed improvements ranging from immediate and substantial to complete remission in a matter of days. Gosh, you think they could have given him flush niacin instead? So let's go into a little history. Niacin and nicotinic acid. This article is from 1942. Can we make that go away? There we go. A poor name is a handicap to the promotion of a meritorious product. The name nicotinic acid for the vitamin so important in the prevention of pellagra has been doubly unfortunate. To the general public, the word nicotinic implies too strongly the relationship of this vitamin to nicotine, the chief alkaloid of tobacco, often used as an insecticide. The term acid denotes a corrosive substance such as the liquid used in automobile storage batteries. The vitamin called nicotinic acid was first produced in the laboratory in 1867 by the oxidation of nicotine with potassium chromate and sulfuric acid. Later, the compound was named nicotinic acid because it had been made from nicotine and it had the ability to form salts. As a laboratory curiosity, which it remained for over 70 years, nicotinic acid was adequately named. Now it's a problem because people think it's nicotine. And people are being told that nicotine does what nicotinic acid does. So we're just going to hit on a couple things here. The biosynthesis of nicotine from nicotinic acid. This is what plants do. Okay? Oh, I didn't share this one yet. The biosynthesis of nicotine from nicotinic acid, chemical and radiochemical yield. So they can make nicotine from flesh niacin. Let's go to this one. Methods to produce nicotinic acid with potential industrial applications. Nicotinic acid is a naturally occurring pyridine carboxylic acid contained in vitamin pellagra preventative, as in flesh niacin, an essential nutrient for human and animals and used as an anti-pelagic agent. Is that it? I think that was it on this one. Oh. By oxidizing nicotine in the range of 230 to 320 degrees Celsius for 25 to 225 minutes, the highest efficiency for nicotinic acid production was 77%. Well, you're not this temperature, right? But how long can the nicotine be in you before it's detoxed or oxidized? Is your body going to oxidize it? Can your body oxidize it into nicotinic acid? So your efficiency is not going to be 77%. It's going to be a lot less. But anyway, so heat can oxidize it. Okay, let's keep going. The oxidation of nicotine with sodium hypochlorite. This is bleach. Identification of some of the products formed with a rationalization of the pathways by which they arose. The oxidation of nicotine with sodium hypochlorite was studied. Since nicotine oxidation could not be driven to complete combustion, it was necessary to identify the products formed that resisted further oxidation. Minor other products, chlorinated nicotinic acids, don't want those. And then they also formed some nicotinic acid, both persistent. They stuck around. The formation of a number of chlorinated byproducts argued against the use of hypochlorite to destroy nicotine commercially. So they're talking about destroying nicotine, turning it into nicotinic acid, right? Let's go into this. This research gate is always so slow. What is... There we go. Separation, identification, and determination of nicotinic acids and nicotinamide in cigarette, tobacco, and smoke. Folks, the nicotine you think you're taking for the benefit is simply flush niacin. Let's see. Nicotinic acid and nicotinamide were separated, identified, and determined in cigarette, tobacco, and smoke by reverse phase HPLC with UV detection using water methanol as mobile phase. So it's in smoke. It's in tobacco smoke. And there's another one here. Process for the preparation of nicotinic acid. They use nitric acid. I'm just showing you that there's a bunch of ways that they can do this. Okay? A bunch of ways. Oxidation. So now let's go on to Dr. Ardis's store again. Maybe some of you guys have heard of mitosynergy or bioavailable copper, or here we have bioactive copper. Okay? Let's look real closely here at the label. Cuprous, as in copper containing nicotinic acid. Wait, they're selling copper bound to nicotinic acid. They're selling copper bound to nicotinic acid. This is the same stuff that's in mitosynergy. This is the same stuff that's in any bioavailable copper. It is called copper nicotinate in the research. Okay. Copper from CU1, cuprous nicotinic acid. So they're actually selling you nicotinic acid bound to copper. Now I want to go over some important stuff on this. I don't know why that's doing that. But this bioavailable copper, it's sold as some magical, like, It's the active form of copper in your body. Whatever. When you take copper nicotinate or copper niacinate, which is copper bound to nicotinic acid. This is an old article from the internet. I had to go on archive.org to get this link. Do I have this in the? Let me see if I have this in there. Do I have the Joe, do I have the archive link? There it is. Yes. So it used to be called BDL Biochem. They have changed the name of the website since then. But this gentleman was helping to get copper nicotinate approved by the FDA. In 2015, 2016, so remember, this website is now gone. Mitosynergy hired me to help them get an FDA letter of acknowledgement for their new dietary ingredient, cuprous niacin. That's all it is. He came back with a protocol for the production of what the Egyptians called copper nicotinate. Before you start wondering, is the copper helping? Well, they're giving niacin. Mitosynergy likes to refer to cuprous copper as proper copper and cupric copper as toxic copper. Note the difference in color. And they say that, once copper oxidizes, then it turns in from the good copper into the bad copper. Okay. The answer that got the letter of acknowledgement. So if you're spending all this money on copper nicotinate, cuprous nicotinic acid, same stuff, what happens when it hits your stomach? What happens when it hits your stomach? This is the guy who helped them get the letter of acknowledgement from the FDA. The answer that got the letter of acknowledgement, the final piece of data that got Mitosynergy the quote letter of acknowledgement from the FDA, was proving that copper and niacin dissociate or break apart under the acidic conditions of the stomach. Both the lawyers and the FDA examiner suggested this question be answered. In a way, it was disappointing in that consuming copper nicotinate would be no different than consuming foods rich in both copper and niacin. I demonstrated copper niacin dissociation by creating stomach conditions with hydrochloric acid, cuprous niacin, and potato starch. So you guys out there paying for bioavailable copper are paying for a copper supplement and a niacin supplement that splits apart in your stomach acid, and then that copper 2 turns into copper 1, or whichever way it is. I don't care. And it can go into the bad copper because it then oxidizes as easily as any other copper. It's not bound to anything anymore. Do you understand? Do you understand the implications here for this supplement? Okay. This is very important. And then just so you know that they're all involved, the root cause protocol had Morley Robbins. They had the Ardis podcast had Morley Robbins on. Morley Robbins is the big bioavailable copper guy. Okay. We help fix some of those people who got misled by following root cause stuff. Okay. So now let's keep going. We just wanted to hit on this paper. He likes to promote nicotine as helping with early Parkinson's disease or Parkinson's disease in general. It was actually the people who got the nicotine in this Parkinson's study were actually worse off than the ones who didn't. Okay. 1 year transdermal nicotine treatment did not slow progression in early Parkinson's disease. Okay. Why don't we hit on another one? Chronic high-dose transdermal nicotine in Parkinson's disease, an open trial. 6 patients with advanced idiopathic, they don't know the cause of their Parkinson's disease, received increasing daily doses of transdermal nicotine up to 105 milligrams a day over 17 weeks. I want you to understand transdermal nicotine. Now Ardis says that if you do transdermal nicotine, it won't make you nauseous or vomit. That's what he says. It's on that nicotine protocol. He says the reason why you get nauseous and vomit is because you're taking the nicotine orally, and if you do it by a patch, that won't happen. I want you to pay attention here. And just so you know, the strongest patches I found were 21 milligrams a patch. So they're giving some of these people 5 of these were for people who were on 10 or more cigarettes a day, I believe was the dose. You'll see it later. So 5 of the highest strength that I found nicotine patches a day over 17 weeks. All patients but one accepted the target dose. So they got up to it. Okay. So these are people with advanced Parkinson's. You realize that these people need care, right? They need help to just live. Advanced Parkinson's disease. Okay. Nausea and vomiting were frequent. Okay, let's say you're a caregiver of somebody with Parkinson's. Do you want to be dealing with them vomiting all the time and constantly complaining about being nauseous? But moderate, and occurred in most of the patients, 4 out of 6, who received over 90 milligrams a day and 14 weeks of nicotine treatment. During the plateau phase, patients improved their motor scores and dopaminergic treatment was reduced. Okay, so in exchange, trade offer, you get nausea and vomiting in an advanced Parkinson's patient. They get lower L-DOPA, carbidopa, which is going to eventually go up over time anyway. So nausea and vomiting for a little bit less on their meds. As a caregiver, I wouldn't want that. You want to clean up the puke in their chair because they can't get up fast enough and they don't tell you about it and they don't know that their nausea is suddenly going to turn into vomiting? This is a disaster. But yes, topical transdermal nicotine does cause nausea and vomiting. Frequent. Occurred in most of the patients. Okay. Now, in his PDF, he recommends some brands of nicotine patches. Nicotine gum, nicotine patches, right here. How to use nicotine patches. How to use nicotine gum. This is where he says that it's detoxing you. Oh, sorry. This is where he says it's detoxing you and that's why you vomit. No, you're taking a pesticide. That's why you vomit. So, Dr. Ardis's trusted brands of nicotine agents. So we have Rugby, clear nicotine transdermal system patch. Okay. So before we get into these, he doesn't like pharmaceuticals, right? Drug facts. Interesting. We're going to expand on this. Pharmaceuticals are not medicine. But ivermectin is an exception. Calcium EDTA is an exception. And isolated nicotine, which is about as much of a drug as you can get, is an exception. So in these things, acrylates. What are acrylates? The Campaign for Safe Cosmetics, a program of breast cancer prevention partners, what do they define them as? Acrylates, ethyl acrylate, ethyl methacrylate, and methyl methacrylate are ingredients found in artificial nail products. Now, we know how good those are for you, right? We are mainly exposed to these chemicals through inhalation or skin contact. Despite evidence of adverse skin, eye, and throat reactions to these chemicals, they continue to be used in nail products. Not just nail products. Health concerns. I'm just going to do this real quick. Cancer, developmental and reproductive toxicity, organ system toxicity, cellular and neurological damage, irritation. Okay. What is in... Oh, well, let me hit on this too. Hide. Oh, sorry, I got it. Methacrylic acid appears as a clear, colorless liquid or low melting solid with a pungent odor. This is one of the ingredients, and this is some of the ingredients in what he's recommending. Corrosive to metals and tissue. Used to make plastics. Has an acrid, repulsive odor. Okay. Not good. Ion exchange resins. We're going to go into this too because this is one of the things. Most commercial resins are made of polystyrene sulfonate, which is followed by polyacrylate. Okay. I think that's all I have on this one. Oh, there it is. It's used in pharmaceuticals. But here I wanted to go over one of the things that another type of ionic exchange resin, cholestyramine. People try to use it as a bile acid grabber. Okay. Strongly basic ion exchange resin and is also used to treat hypercholesterolemia. Cholestyramine and cholestyramine are known as bile acid sequestrants. Go look at the side effects list of cholestyramine. We will never use this as a bile acid binder. Okay? Never, ever. Ion exchange resins are used as excipients in pharmaceutical formulations such as tablets, capsules, gums, and suspensions. In these uses, the ion exchange resin can have several different functions, including taste masking, extended release, tablet disintegration, increased bioavailability, just what you need for toxins, right? And improving the chemical stability of the active ingredients. What's in the nicotine? This is his first one. Remember, this is the first one that was recommended. Nicotine by Rugby Laboratories. Nicotine patch. Where's the inactive? Inactive ingredients. Acrylate adhesive. Polyester. Silicone adhesive. So if you're absorbing nicotine through your skin, do you think you're absorbing acrylate adhesive and polyester? Doesn't everybody making a big deal about polyester underwear right now? Reducing testosterone levels? Aren't I telling you that there's a infertility psyop going on? Here's another one. Rugby nicotine polacrylex gum. What is polacrylex? Well, that's kind of what we just went over. Polacrylex is an ion exchange resin, which means it's basically like a plastic. Look at these nutritious ingredients that are in this gum. Artificial sweetener, acesulfame potassium, butylated hydroxytoluene, BHT, preservative, carnauba wax, flavors, gum base, sodium bicarbonate, sodium carbonate, sorbitol, and talc. Didn't talc get taken out of baby powder for causing cancer? Don't I remember that? The bigger piece of gum. Same ingredients. Oh, but it's got food coloring number 1, food coloring number 2, food coloring number 3, food coloring number 4. Flavors. Gum base, sodium bicarbonate, sodium carbonate, sorbitol, and talc. Okay. Super good for you, right? Another one. Let me go see. So, the polacrylex. So this was the other Rugby. This was the polacrylex with the ion exchange plastic resin in it. Lucy gum. Let's go look at Lucy. Nicotine polacrylex. So it's basically got that ion exchange resin plastic-ish. More nutritious ingredients that any alternative health practitioner should be proud to tell their people to take. Acacia, acesulfame potassium, artificial sweetener. Benzaldehyde. Calcium polycarbophyll, magnesium stearate, mannitol. Menthol DL, natural and artificial cherry flavor, potassium bicarbonate, sodium alginate, sodium carbonate, sucralose, xanthan gum. It's not enough to have one artificial sweetener. You want to have 2 for maximum flavor. More of Lucy's gum ingredients here. I think I already just read enough. Talc. There's the talc. It's higher on the list. Now, I wanted to hit on some of the other ones out there. Nicoderm. This was one of the original ones. If you guys remember, those of you who are older, more mature, Nicoderm was one of the original ones. Non-medicinal ingredients, or as they call them, inactive ingredients. Ethylene vinyl acetate copolymer. They're after your health. They want to help you be healthy. Ethylene vinyl acetate copolymer. You're chewing this gum. You're swallowing this. Polyisobutylene and high-density polyethylene between clear polyester backings. Delicious. This will make you healthy. Just do one every day. This is the 21 milligram. They have the 21 milligram patch. 21 milligram patch. And just so you know, when you're reading studies about nicotine replacement therapy, they consider you successful if you simply stop smoking cigarettes. They don't say you ever have to quit the nicotine patches. Get it? They changed the goalpost. It's not about quitting nicotine. It's about stopping smoking. And one more, the CVS product. This one had some really interesting ingredients. Kelsey found it. That's why I wanted to go over it. I had never seen anything like this. Inactive ingredients: acrylate adhesive, aluminized polyester, cellulose paper, methacrylic acid copolymer. This is like an all-star list, right? Polyester with aluminum bound to it, and the acrylate and the methacrylic acid. Okay. Good stuff. This is how you get healthy. Okay, that's it. That's all of that. So let me get back to my screen and let's see. Where was I? There we are. Let me pull up my chat. Okay. So Joe pulled up a couple super chats for me. Ramon, thank you for the super chat. He's asking, hi, doc. My 8-year-old son was diagnosed with ADHD. He was put on dexamethylphenidate. I think it's dexamethylphenidate, 10 milligrams. What's your take? I like the holistic path to treat things. Thank you. Well, okay. So first, the kid needs detox and proper nutrition. That's the big, just like adults do. Did I do a show on? Okay, I have a whole show, Ramon, on attention deficit stuff. Whole show. So you're going to want to go and look at that one. Now, if somebody was going to, first of all, they're using stimulants to change the brain, the way the brain's running. Honestly, if somebody told me they were going to medicate their attention deficit child, I think I go over this in the other video. If they were going to use caffeine, like I'd be like, if you're going to have to use something, that's probably the long-term safest one. You don't have to give them coffee. You can just give them caffeine pills or something like that. I'm not going to say that I'm endorsing any of it, but I mean, okay. Treating children whose brains are not fully formed yet with stimulants is going to change their brain forever. Oh, there it is. Joe put it on the screen, the attention deficit stuff. Giving children psychoactive, as in it messes with their thinking. Giving children psychoactive meds or compounds, caffeine, nicotine, this stuff, it is going to change their brain. It is going to change their brain. So you can do that and hope for the best. Might get some brain shrinkage or other stuff over time, or you do the detox. If you wanted to start some of those things while you're doing the detox, I mean, at least you're doing the detox stuff. But if you're going to expect the med to fix it, it's not going to fix it. It's going to change your kid's brain for good. But the longer they do it, I mean, there's adults now who are like, Ritalin like ruined my brain. They're like, I took it for 10 years and my brain is just, it's bleh. It's pharma cartel stimulants. They're giving you like basically typically amphetamine derivatives. It's going to change the brain. The younger they are, the more it's going to change their brain. This is exactly what I tell my kids. I say, look, I mean, I know my kids are smart. They're going to make their own choices in life. And I tell them, until you're like 20, anything you do that messes with your state of consciousness, your state of sobriety, marijuana, alcohol, caffeine, whatever, it is going to change your brain. We have a family member who started on lots of mind-altering substances in his teens. I don't think they ever recovered. And the kids kind of know this. So that's the reality of messing with your brain. If you mess with your brain, whether it's supplements or meds or nicotine or caffeine, if you mess with your brain, you are messing with your brain. For better or worse. There's usually not a lot of better, like there's temporary better symptoms. You're working on symptoms. You're not working on the cause. So Matt Quinn. So that's what I got on that. So I would watch the live stream, Ramon. Thank you for the super chat. Okay, so Matt Quinn, super chat, $1.09. Anyway, hey doc, thoughts on peptides? I think they are asking for something for nothing. I think more people than admit it try them and do not get any results. And then you have the people who come online who may or may not be telling the truth, saying they got amazing results. Okay. All the biohackers love them, right? Yeah. You want to go and research peptide, go whatever peptide you're thinking of doing. Go and research the peptide with the word side effects. And then realize that probably a lot of people, so if you find a couple of them, realize that there's tons more people in the background who are not saying it. Tons of people. They just don't talk about it. So hopefully that didn't just get me axed. So yeah, you got to, and I've done a lot of research on peptides. You ever hear of one called PT141? It's actually, PT141 is sold to women as a medication for libido. I forget the name of it. It's sold to women for libido. Now, research peptide companies are selling it to anybody who will buy it as for, especially for men, as an erection helper, whether you want to say erectile dysfunction helper or whether you have normal guys who want to get more out of it. Now, go and search PT141 and anhedonia. Or go look up PT141 side effects. You're going to find all sorts of stuff. Would you like to, let's say, trade, trade offer, right? You're going to trade as a guy some extra sexual function for potentially losing your emotional range of feelings, where you're just like for the rest of your life, potentially. Go look it up. Go look it up. People are really messing themselves up with some of these peptides. And then I was reading some stuff about that because somebody piqued my interest with it on Twitter. And so I went and I was researching and I was like, and then people are talking about having to take another peptide to fix what PT141 broke. Hopefully. Insane. And there's people talking about taking this like multiple times a week, every week. One guy who did that, he was like, all of a sudden, the anhedonia came on. He's like, I don't know how to get rid of it. I can't get rid of it. He's like, I tried all these things. Nothing's working. Would you want to trade these things for each other? Now, if you're ever going to mess around with what's the copper one? GHK, copper binding peptide. Don't do the one that's got copper bound to it, or you're just taking a copper supplement with your copper binding protein. GHK is a copper binding protein. So if you take that, take it without copper. But I haven't heard very many people saying good things about it. So in terms of GHK, either way. BPC 157 is the big one that everybody talks about. I'm going to be honest. I tried it. I didn't notice much out of it. I tried 2 good cycles of it. Didn't get much out of it. But then again, I haven't been trying to go after something for nothing. I experimented with it because I experiment on things with you guys, for you guys. I get questions about peptides all the time. So I was like, I'll try it. This one seems to be the least problematic with the most potential benefits. I didn't get anything out of it. Nothing. So that's it. Thanks for keeping track of that, Joe, where I said the little thing about the injuries, the pokey injuries. So we got so a little more. What are we at? We're at 1:30. I started at about like 11. Oh, we're at over 2 hours now. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up. So anyway, I hope you all enjoyed that. I am just here to, sorry. I didn't say, I thought I said thanks to Will. Thank you, Will, for the super chat. He said, thanks, Doc. This was super fascinating. You know, that's why I was late. I had to get enough research for all of it. And hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to go do my inner circle now. And we will see you all next time. Oh, sorry. Let me go through the links with Joe. Joe, let's do the links. Let's do the links. So anyway, main website, nutritiondetective.com. This is where you can go to find the testing and consultation packages we talked about. This is where you can go to find the supplements that we make, like minimal to no added ingredients wherever possible, and where I talked about the liquid zinc picolinate. We got all that stuff there. Remember, if you're a Love Your Liver member, you get discounts in the VIP store for our supplements. The Love Your Liver program is my do-it-yourself program for it's its own little social network in there. It's a little private network. It's got the Love Your Liver program in there. You can talk to other people. That's where all those testimonials came from today. It is a do-it-yourself program. If you get the Love Your Liver program by itself, that's a do-it-yourself program. If you work with any of our health facilitators, you get access to the Love Your Liver program for good. And the Love Your Liver program is a one-time fee for life. That's it. It's not like a monthly subscription like everybody else does. So then there is, what else is there? Oh, I'm on the web at Twitter, NutriDetect, NutriDetect. Yes. That's where you can find my musing. I'm getting really, you guys, if you guys haven't noticed, Twitter is suppressing anybody who's not promoting. Like right now, it's like promoting what's going on over there. If you're not talking about it, it doesn't want to have anything to do with you. It's not promoting it's becoming like an echo chamber, which I think is what they want. It's awful now. If you want to find me on that Rumble, that's my Rumble link there. Rumble.com/user/nutrition detective. Maybe someday I'll figure out how to change that URL. And then we're here on YouTube at youtube.com/nutrition detective. Joe just put up the 2 most important episodes if you want to understand toxic bile paradigm. That's number 71 and 53. And that is, I think that's about it. Joe, did we have any more links that I'm forgetting? I have a link tree. Oh, the Madness of Modern Nutrition. That is our free email course. You can sign up for that at madnessofmodernnutrition.com, or you can also link to it from the main website. And I think, my link tree, if you want to find all the links, if you forget them, is down in the info box below. And I think that's about, the last thing, the old research forum, my old research forum where I have close to 500 posts of the early stuff on vitamin A toxicity and our early testimonials. That's at nutritionrestored.com/blog-forum. I keep that WordPress site up just for the forum because I can't put it on my new website. Okay. This was Love Your Liver episode 203. At 208, that will be 4 years of a live stream every week without missing a week in 4 years, or without missing an episode in 4 years. So that's pretty exciting. That'll be a big accomplishment. So anyway, hope you all enjoyed it. I will see you all next time. Hopefully we'll get this niacin episode done. I'm probably gonna do a zinc episode soon too for the new liquid zinc. And then we have another product coming up soon. So hope you all enjoyed it. I will talk to you all later. Bye now.